Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm going to go on my phone and see if it's there.
See if anybody's there. Hello.
Live watching app. There's 3.
Yep, there's your goofy face. Oh, we're up to 5. Hello. It's good to see ya. Or
not to see you. Good to see your name.
See your name.
There's 3.
Yep, there's your goofy face. Oh, we're up to 5.
Just head on my phone just to make sure it's broadcasting properly.
It's raining outside.
Yeah, it's supposed to get snow.
Yeah, when it rains, then I get cold and tired, which is weird.
Hello from New Zealand. What's the weather like in New Zealand right now? Is it warm?
Summer.
Is it like opposite?
I think
summer
it is down there now.
I don't know.
Yes,
is New Zealand nice and warm? So you freeze when we're in the summer, I guess. Susanville, California. Hello.
Oh, that's out by Tegan somewhere.
Albuquerque, Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah. Well, welcome. It's good to see you. Oh, there's Wyoming and Hoytsville.
I got to look up where Hoytsville is. Where's Hoytsville?
Jeannie, you need to tell him where Hoytsville is.
I don't know where Hoytsville is. New York.
Well, you hope.
No, that's Holtzville. Not that.
So anyway.
H-O-Y-T.
And our youngest is on his way home from school. He finished the semester. He finished early. He used one of his dad's tricks.
Yeah.
To get out of a final.
Well, it's Hoytsville, Utah.
It's just here in Utah. He's not a dumb kid. He's really smart, and so he's 99% accuracy in the class. And he went up to the
Western Summit County, border with Colville.
Oh, one near Colville. Anyway, he went over to his professor and said, "Since my scores are like this, what good is taking a final going to do?
I don't want to have to take the final. Yeah,
I don't want to have to take the final. Look at my grades.
Hot summer. He's getting hot summer right now.
I'm so sorry. But anyway, they told the professor, he said, if that's the case, he says, I just as soon not take the final and accept the final grade. And so he did.
So the professor said, okay. I used that trick on one of my professors, and I told the story to Jarrett.
And so he did it. But then the professor came into the class for the other kids and said, well, if you're happy with your grade, you don't have to take the final.
Yeah.
So
I bet half the class left.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Why do you want the final for?
Just screw up your
grade. Yeah, just screw up your grade. You just miss a problem or two, and you end up lowering your grade.
But anyway, he's on his way home. He's driving. He stopped to see my dad and say hello. And he stopped at the cheese factory to pick up cheese for everybody down here.
All right, let's see. We're
up to 40. I suggest you get busy answering questions.
Judy, when you use thank a contributor, what is the time frame and the numbers are gathered from? Oh, okay. We'll start with let me start with a couple things first. Oh, then somebody else says, I was going to ask that question. So I want to make 2 announcements. So everybody knows what's happened recently. So the first announcement is on Tuesday morning this week.
10 a.m. our time, Mountain Standard.
We released the ability to document same-sex relationships in Family Tree. There's still a few scraggling things on the end, like I don't think you can upload a GEDCOM into genealogies that has same-sex, but they're working on that. They're going to have that done in the year, first part of January. But I wanted you to know about it. You go out and try it. You can do it in beta, and you can also beta.familysearch.org. Or if it's, you could try some living. I wouldn't, if it's not a legitimate relationship, you could try a beta to see how it's working. But that was released on Tuesday. So I wanted you to know that. The second thing is this morning for those who have participated in Get Satisfaction, that's our give us ideas and feedback site. We also have communities. So we're working on that one, but we released a code of conduct for Get Satisfaction. we'd kind of been enforcing that, but we really didn't tell anybody what the rules were, and so we put those out. I understand there's some feedback on it, and I haven't read it yet. I was busy in meetings all day, so I didn't get a chance to look at any of that yet. So I wanted you to know about those two things: the release of documenting same-sex couples and the code of conduct. Now, I'll give you a little bit about same-sex couples. It means that you can, let me give you some general rules about how it plays. You will not be able to put, there's three sex values in family tree. One is male, one is female, one is unknown. That's unchanged. When you want to make a relationship, meaning a husband and a wife, or husband or wife, they must be either male or female. Remember, we're documenting sex, which is defined as biological. And if you're going to have same-sex parents, then they also have to be male or female or male. So spouses and parents have to be male or female, or male, female. And the child can be any sex or unknown. It doesn't matter. I just want you to understand that. Now, for those who are members of the LDS Church or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you may be asking questions about ordinances and how that works. Nothing's changed there. If a deceased person was involved in a same-sex relationship at some time, that's okay. They still get, after they've been deceased for a year, they can have the BC, baptism, confirmation, initiatory endowments completed for them. They can still do their biological parents, if that's, male, female biological parents, if you want. Sealing a spouse of their same-sex couples will not be performed in the temple, or same-sex parents, children to same-sex parents. But the other ordinances will be available once they're deceased and stuff. Okay? So I wanted you to know about that. And you can ask, and we only have a few questions. We don't have a ton. We only have like 8 or 10, which isn't very many. But I'll go back here and start answering some questions. So there was a question from Judy, and then followed up by Monique, who said I was going to ask the exact same question. You're seeing that now you're getting little thank yous from people. And basically what it's doing is when somebody gets a hint, or somebody is looking at records and they want to, that we give them an opportunity to thank the person that extracted those records, so that you know that they're out there, and you get a little thank you from those who are using it. And it's been something we've been wanting to do for quite some time. We finally got some energy behind it, and we're able to do that. And it's just to tell you thank you. You need to be appreciated for the work you're doing for everybody, and we're just providing that option. I don't think they're not allowed to put any kind of special note or anything in that. We have to shy away from that for fear of what people may put in there. But they push a button and say thanks, and I think it gives you the contact name. So if you want to communicate, you can do so by looking at their contact card and stuff. So that's what that is about. Just for those who are using the great work you're doing, to say thanks. Monique says, I had 61 ancestors enhanced for myself. I don't know what enhanced mean. Is that a muscle building thing? I don't know. So altered by mechanical parts? I don't know. I don't know what enhanced. I'm sorry, I don't know that definition for that. I should also say, for same-sex or for transgender things, if there's a transgender case where somebody wants to identify their gender, then what we recommend is going to the other category and put in a gender field, if you wish, for that person, or that person can do it themselves. And then they can put in a custom fact or custom event. On this date, I was this gender or something, if that's desired. Okay. All right. So nice. What's nice?
Oh, just to thank you for the ability to correct.
Oh,
index record.
Yeah. So the ability to correct index records has been out a little while. It's not on all collections yet, because there's some extra work that has to be done to sort of turn on a collection to be able to do that. Our intent is eventually to be able to allow you to correct all the stuff, all the records. I don't know if that will always, that'll probably take some time for it to happen. But it's nice. It's nice to have, and it's moving on more and more censuses, more and more other records, and it'll continue. That's what the chart says, enhanced ancestors. I don't know. I'm not sure what chart you're talking about. I'm not sure. You have to give me a URL, Monique, so I can go look at it real quick. Okay, so unless somebody else has seen it and they can explain what that enhanced ancestors. I don't know. Marketing term.
Maybe they were superheroes.
Well, that's what I asked.
We just don't know.
They had $6 million man. They had parts put in or something.
I could be one of those with parts put in.
But it didn't make you stronger, faster, and running like 900 miles an hour.
No, it just made it so that I could walk.
Yeah. Okay, give us a question.
Okay, here's one from Jean. It says, when using Source Linker and add a new person, if you put in a death date, why do you have to put in a reason for the death if it's not 110 years old? Seems redundant.
Okay, let me explain. That's on purpose. The concern we've had in the past, and this is why we added that, is that people of a younger generation, we're guessing a younger generation, 20, 30, 40-year-olds.
Millennials.
They see somebody, I don't know if this is true, but this is my perception, is that they see somebody in the 1940 census and they figure that they're dead. If it's in the 1940, man, then they're long gone. And there's plenty of people in the world that were born in 1940s and are still alive. And so there was a kind of a behavior that we saw kept happening was everybody in the 1940 census were being marked deceased. And then people would call in support and complain and said, I'm living, but here's me as dead in the tree. And so we decided that if the source itself does not have a death information, meaning it says they're dead or it gives a death date or something, if the source that you are attaching or you are using to create the person does not have death information, then we will require a reason statement. Because you need to explain why you're marking them dead.
Okay.
You need to explain why you're doing that because the records don't show that they're dead.
Will it?
So you have to go to the reason statement, and if you're going to mark them dead, that's fine, but you got to get in there and say they're deceased because they were my aunt and I was there at the funeral, or I have this other record that's it's not attached on anybody because you could be something you're adding, but if you're creating a new person, that doesn't work. So that's why we're trying to slow down people making people dead that aren't dead. Essentially is what that's for. Okay. I know it's a little inconvenient, but just take a moment and type in a reason statement to say, if you're typing in a death, then you should be putting in a reason statement anyway that says, where did you get that death information? That reason statement is to explain why the death you're putting in there is correct. That's the purpose of reason statement. There's been some confusion, by the way, about reason statements. There was a group who were, there's a sort of two thoughts. One group says that reason statements are just to record what change you made. So they'll delete the reason statement that was in there and they'll write standardized because you did a standardization. And reason statements are not there to tell the next person what you changed or what you did. The purpose of the reason statement is to explain why the value you have in the conclusion is the most correct value. It's why that value is right, not what you did. So if you standardized and that's all you did, then don't change the reason at all. Just leave it like it is and go on. Oh. If you change the date because you found new information, then you should add to the reason statement and said, found a new source that was written by his hand or whatever that said he was born on this day.
Perfect.
So that's the purpose of a reason statement. People are confusing that with a change log. The change log, the reason statement is to say why that conclusion is correct. All right. Now let's see if I have any questions down here. Shows the number of ancestors that enhance. I guess they use that as a marketing thing. You made that ancestor better. You enhance the ancestor. You enhance their data by adding that source. Okay.
There you go.
I hadn't seen one because I didn't get enough. I don't have any thank yous. So
You just.
I didn't index a ton. I was busy.
He doesn't index.
I was busy building family search stuff.
I do more indexing, but I haven't done it recently. I need to get back in gear.
Okay, thank you. So that may help me understand there, Audra.
That is right.
Can you please elaborate on the concept of accepting an invitation to share our ordinances with others? Okay, this is what we call a campaign. It's something that the marketing team put together to help engage others who are related to your ancestors, and to help engage them into coming back and participating in Family Search, particularly with ordinances in this case. So what happens is the following. This is the share your or get help from others, or share your ordinances with others, or have relatives help you with your reservation list. This is what this is about. So the way it works is they send a message to you, the owner of the reservation list, and they ask you if you'd be willing to share some of your ordinances with relatives who need to do ordinances.
Garrett's a mile away from home.
Well, okay, it's 7:45. That's reasonable.
No, it's not. He has been driving 2 hours.
Well, he speeds. I have to erase that part and when I pull it off so the cops don't use it as evidence. But anyway, so they ask you if you'd be willing to share with a relative some of the ancestors' ordinances you have. Then what they do is they go find other users, other members who are related to the ancestors on your reservation list, and ask them, would you be willing to help a relative get their reservations and ordinances completed? If they say yes, then what they do is they send it back a campaign to you and say, there are relatives that are willing to help. Are you willing to, click here to share your reservations. And when you click it, then you get a big list, you've seen it, where it has each of your reservations, and then it has a person off to the right that you can choose to share that reservation with, okay? Now, the hope was that that person would then get, well, they will, when you share it and they accept it. This is just like standard sharing. You share it, they accept it, comes off your list, goes on their list. The hope is that they'll do the ordinances. There have been some cases where people just share it with the temple. It's not that often, and some other cases where they're not really diligent in getting it done. So you choose for yourself. There's been lots of people that have had very good and pleasant experiences. They communicate with that ancestor or that relative, get to know them a little bit, and kind of strike up a little relationship where they can help each other in family tree. So that helps as well. That's what that is about. Cool. Okay. Usually they only target people that have, I thought they said 300, but last I heard they're 100 or more on their reservation list, but I'm not positive. Yeah, so Robert, you asked, there's a prototype of a new search engine to help you find unindexed record sets without going into the family history catalog. That's correct. I showed that in my RootsTech presentation this year. We called it image search is what I think we're calling it. Actually, that's what we called it internally. I don't know if they settled on that name or not. What it does is it takes what we call metadata. So it takes data about the collection. When we go out and microfilm collections or take cameras of film of records, the great volunteers, workers that do that, they categorize it. They put in, well, this is from this date. This is a set of records between these two dates. They're from wherever, Washington, D.C., whatever the place. And then they record all that data before they start filming. And then they take the pictures. And then when they get done with that set, then they create a new thing. And they describe what kind of records those are, their obituaries, their birth certificates, blah, 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 and the time frame that they're in. And so all that data about the collection or about the records is placed into a database. It's transmitted to FamilySearch when they complete their camera capture things. And then all we're doing here is we're taking that data and we're having you put in, for example, a name, because some of the records, some of the microfilm, or some of the records that are being filmed will have alphabetically or something, or time frames. So you could say stuff like, I think most of the time it's a place and a time frame. So you put in a place, Washington. Well, what county? You can pick a county. You can pick a date time range.
So it tries to
And
help
then,
you narrow it down.
yeah, and then what we do
That's nice.
is and this is happening for microfilms that we microfilmed in the vault as well that aren't indexed yet. You enter in that data and you say search, and it will find records for that place, that county, that time frame, that type of records, and it'll show those lists of microfilms or rolls or images from microfilm. Then you just select it, and it'll take you right to the beginning of where that particular county in that time frame is on the roll of film.
Oh, instead of having
So let's say it's image number 200. You don't have to look at the first 199 images. It'll jump you right to film number 200. And then you can look from there. So it's designed to quickly get you to the area where it's most likely to find the person you're looking for. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful idea. The team's been working on it for a while, and I think it's going to be wonderful. So that's what that is.
I think that sounds great.
Oh yeah,
Really nice.
Someday we'll have everything indexed, and it won't be so bad. But till then, we got plenty of stuff to look at for that.
Well, I promise I'll get back indexing. I don't do film history, but I do indexing.
Yeah. Okay. Give me another question.
Okay, this is from Linda. She wants to know why FamilySearch has recently started showing green icons on names that have already been submitted and saved in a temple file. These names still keep their place in the line in the temple file, but they are also opened up to people by showing them a green icon in hopes that they'll do the work themselves. This is a great idea, except when I come across these names, is there some identifying mark or message that lets me know not to resubmit them to the temple file because they're already submitted? It says, I spend hours each day and I have thousands of names on the temple file. It's cumbersome to check every name against the temple file list.
Yep, I agree.
Hey, did we drive like a you-know-what out of where? Okay.
She was timing you. It felt like it was a little too fast. I'll let you discuss this later, not in front of everybody.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, okay, so what she asked basically is she's aware of ordinances she has on her reservation list. She shared it to the temple, and those things are showing up as the ordinances she shared with the temple are showing up on that person as green icons. That's correct. Now, it's not complete. So, yes, we're in a state of could be frustrating for you because you reserve that person, but you're seeing it as green and kind of panic and you want to unreserve it and re-reserve it or reserve it again. Don't do that. Just realize it'll be okay. And then it's in January timeframe, another 3 months, January, February, March, someone there. We'll fix it, and it'll have a different color icon. It'll probably be green, but something different on it, so it's shared with the temple icons. Then you'll be fine. In the meantime, just stay away from those PIDs that have the green arrow. I know it's frustrating. I've had a couple other people talk to me, and there's really nothing we could do. What we did is what we told people is when they expire, when ordinances expires, we're going to share them to the temple so that others can have it, and you can go to the person page, you can reserve them, and when it came time for the first expirations in October, we were not done. We were not done with the different color icon and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to use what we've used in the past, which was share it with the temple and then have it look like FamilySearch shared it with the temple. So if it says FamilySearch shared it, I think it should say FamilySearch shared it. Then it's one of those. Well, that's the problem. You don't know whether it's a previously shared one or yours, except that you know what the PIDs are. So Unfortunately, it's not a great situation, but hang tight with us for a few more months, and we expect to get that fixed. And then it'll look better. You won't have to compare it. If it's the PID you have already on your list, I'd just stay away from it for now. Okay, when will family group sharing ordinances be up and running? We're still working on that. We have the biggest and hardest part of that is to create these family groups, and that's a lot of complication, and to be able to invite and to kick people out and to have them request and you approve. That's a lot of work to get all that built in, but the team has it on the list, and we're working on it. I don't have a date when that's going to happen. Sorry. And it'll start out first as ordinances. So you'll have a family reservation list. I think that's going to be great. I can't wait for it to happen, because then you could just share your reservations to the family list, and then just tell everybody else, go to that reservation list and print out cards. And go do it. And when it gets done, they disappear from the list.
Hi, Cody.
And Cody. Someone told me that they will mark someone deceased even though they are living, because then more sources will show up than they do for living. They can then change them back to living.
Oops.
You can't change them back to living if somebody else touches it. And by the way, you do not have to do that. So it's actually a policy violation if you take a living person and you mark them dead on purpose when you know they're living. And it is not true. Now, certainly you won't get an icon on that person that says there's hints, but what you can do is you can periodically open that person, and then when you open the person, you'll see hints. We don't put it on the pedigree chart, but if you open that, because we're not going to put living people inside our hint engine, because that's less secure.
Yeah.
That's why we're not doing that. But if you open that living person, we calculate right on the fly in less than 60 seconds. We'll tell you, even less than 60 seconds, we'll tell you if there's hints, and you can attach them. Okay. So there's no need.
Give it a whirl.
There's no need to make them deceased and as an inaccuracy. And the problem with that, of course, is they'll, take them to the temple or whatever, and they're still alive. So. It's less than 110, but it could be a relative.
Could forget to go back.
Yeah,
I'm notorious for things like that. We got more?
And you could still search for records, by the way. You can still click FamilySearch or click Ancestry and go find records for those people. So there's no reason for not for making them dead just to find records or hints. No reason for it anymore. How soon do you anticipate that the changes in the ordinance reservation system would be completed? I have names shared since 2012, so I'm eagerly awaiting progress. I'm not sure what you're expecting when you say changes in the ordinance reservation system. I mean, we have, the only parts we haven't done yet is ward and stake to hand our ward and stake names to people in ordinance ready, or they can pick it off when they're in the reservation list. They can see the ward or stake lists and be able to pick off of that. Otherwise, ordinance ready is there except for the family groups. So I'm not sure what else you're expecting. There have been some people that have expressed concerns to me about ordinance ready, because not because ordinance ready is bad or anything like that, but just because they're not in the big tree. So the way ordinance ready works is we try to find related names of the person who's searching for a name. And if if their line is a common line, then odds are they'll all snag off the ordinances pretty quickly. If it's not a common line, it's not tapped into the big tree. By the way, the big tree's over 500 million now, over 500,000 large.
He was telling me the number the other day.
Single tree. But yeah, so I don't know specifically, Marilyn, what you're looking for there.
Look at what he sent you right there.
Hello from FamilySearch Center in sunny, warm St. George. Yeah, you're warm down there, like in the 50s or 60s, something like that.
He's trying to poke fun that we got rain out here.
Yeah, but it's supposed to snow. We're supposed to get like 3 or 4 inches by Saturday. Mountains are supposed to get like 14 inches, local ones, and then the
higher
the
ones
big
are
ones
supposed to
are
get
like
up to 4 feet.
4 feet of snow
Don't
by
complain
Saturday.
because that's some of your water for next summer.
Well, I think they get water from a different place, but
yeah, I know.
yeah, Lynn, I haven't announced the reservation limits. That's not going to come for a while, so when it happens, I'll be sure to let you know. I'm not using a wireless mic. We are hearing audio blowout from time to time, possible wired connection issue. I have a brand new computer. It's only about 2 months old, not a month old.
Not even a month.
Not even a month.
Ooh, we're sorry.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm talking too loud. I have a tendency to talk loud because I think you're far away because you're in Idaho and New Zealand.
You are, but yeah.
I'll try to talk a little quieter.
If that,
I don't think I can adjust anything here. This is just my volume.
Let us know if there's, if it is because we're talking to
I'll do a Facebook Live and be in the other room and listen to Sheree and see. We'll do a test.
There you go.
Okay, let's get another question.
Okay, here's one from Warren. Is there some place that we can go to get details about the matching criteria used by FamilySearch to match sources and or to identify duplicates? Trying to figure out when to use FamilySearch versus Ancestry versus some other search engine, etc.
Nope. We don't publish the algorithms and things like that. This is it is a machine learning type of system. Some could call it artificial intelligence. I don't know if it's that intelligent, but some could consider it artificial intelligence. What we do is we feed the machine with things we know. So we have people that are helping us with verifying the actual value of some record seconds, and then we feed that to the machine, and then we tweak. It has like a billion knobs, and we tweak all the knobs so that when we feed it stuff we know, it chooses wisely, right? And we do that every month or 2 months. We go tweak the machine and feed it new sets of curated, accurate documents and tweak it, and then we take everything in the tree and everything in all records and feed it through the machine, and it spits out what it thinks is
So what you're
matches.
saying is the computer is only as smart as those engineers that are tweaking?
As smart as the knobs. It's not as smart as there actually isn't software that's analyzing. It's picking out data and then saying, well, if it's this close, add a little more score to it. If it's not, do less
That's
score.
what Ron used to tell me.
It's just
the computer is only as smart as the operator.
That is true.
It was his way of poking fun at me.
It's as smart as the person using it or writing it.
Yeah.
Okay, one more over there.
Okay, this is from Linda. It says, on my phone, it tells me how I'm related to someone, but on my computer, it only shows the family tree chart. Why is this the case?
Because we haven't built it yet.
There you go.
We did it on the mobile as an experiment, and there were actually problems in the relationships that we put on there. So they kept tweaking, and they got it just the way it should be. And we just haven't updated the version on the website to use that system that tells you how you're related. First cousin, second removed, whatever kind of thing. So, sorry. Marilyn says, spoke earlier about names going worldwide instead of being limited to our own temple district. Is that still going to happen? Yes, that's going to happen. Has not happened yet, although Ordnance Ready does that. Ordnance Ready is not confined to a certain temple district. So if we find something that's in the temple list and you're related to, and the person who's requesting the ordinance is related to them, we don't care what temple district that deceased person is in or been shared with, we pull it right out and give it to that person. That's why you would see things in other parts of the world or other parts of the United States happening when they get completed, when you share them with a temple. So we doing that with the Ordnance Ready, and eventually when we get a little further along to stop the whole temple district stuff, then it'll be that way. Does FamilySearch have a policy about submitting names in the 1500s? Yes, we do. There is
she was the next one on they were the next one on the list, Lynn.
They asked the same question in 2 places.
She was afraid we weren't going to get to her. I'm sorry.
Right. Let me go look here.
So, all right.
Let me just really look quick. There's been several people questioning that, asking questions about that, actually. some emails and things like that have come in. And let me just look it up real quick. I think I put the link out there. I'm going to help. And in the little part where the article, I say before 1500. I think that's what I put in there. Can I do ordinances for people born before 1500? And I will go out here. Oops. Right out here. And go right there and post it right there and go like that. So there, I posted it in the feed, and that'll give you some instructions. Yes, there are rules for 1500. Requires a source. You have to be direct descendant. And there's a few other things that are in there.
Oh, look, it just said there just happened again.
Sounds good. It just happened again.
Lee says it's not our things.
No, your vocal levels aren't the issue. Okay, maybe it's Facebook.
We're so sorry. It really makes us feel bad.
Well, is it hurting people's ears and things like that? If it's that, I'll turn off the.
It says right here, it's more crosstalk.
Oh, we're hearing it.
Wow, it's almost like a police radio.
Huh.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Almost like a police radio sounds.
Yeah, and here's one that says it's just random.
Your loud outbursts seem to happen randomly and not associated with the level of your voice or anything else that you might be doing, like getting closer further from your PC. Yeah, it's probably drops in your internet connection, either on your side or my side. Although I'm not seeing any indication that I am not communicating properly.
We'll have to. We'll check it out.
Margaret says my voice is perfect. I love it. Has a new type of data problem been added recently? A while ago, I started seeing reoccurring person. This person appears in the pedigree more than one location, and I didn't used to see that. Is that new? Yes, it is. We came up with we use our service that calculates relationships and stuff, and we use that service now to tell us in the view that you're looking on. I think it's only the pedigree, but it may be in some other place too. Where it'll tell you that the same person is in two places on the pedigree chart, which isn't supposed to happen.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's legit. I mean, unless your father is your grandparent or something like that. Or like that. So this is saying the same PID is appearing on the view that they only show it for the view that you expand to. So what you're looking at, it'll compare all the PIDs in there and say, is there a PID in there twice? It should tell you the other, where, I think, but it means that you've got the same person as a child or a father or a grandfather. So you have a looping pedigree that's going to revolve around because the grandfather is also the son or something like that. Okay. And that's new. We added that. We felt that would be helpful.
That would be kind of weird, but yeah, helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is from Jennifer, and she has a couple of questions. So we'll do one, and then I'll do the second one. It says, when working in the mobile app and adding a new person to the tree, why is the default set to deceased? On the website, you have to provide a reason statement or death date or place to allow a deceased record to be created when the person is less than 110 years old. I find a lot of people added to the tree that were born in 1920 and 30 time frame that are marked deceased, but who are in fact living. This is the only area when I think they are marked deceased from the beginning.
Okay, so I'm going to make a note here. Send it to myself about
line 491.
491, and also the issue is that mobile should be doing the same thing that the website is doing. Should not automatically mark a deceased or anything like that. You should have to put something in there. Mobile. Wait, what was the number again? 491.
491. 491. Oh, it's the same individual, but she's made it different lines.
Mobile, not marking.
Can you see that his brain is not operating at full capacity?
Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks.
It's been a couple busy weeks, and tomorrow's his last day at work until the new year.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah.
Mobile making deceased.
Yeah, we don't usually can go a day without phone calls, but it'll be nice to have him around the house at least for a little while.
Over 110. Okay.
Okay, this is part 2. It said, on the flip side, when adding a new person to the tree from a web browser and the person is less than 110 years old, why do you have to provide a reason statement if you supply a death date?
Yeah, I already answered that question.
That was answered earlier. Okay, and here's the third question she posed. Is it possible to provide a place where you can view the relationship between two PIDs?
No, uh-huh.
There are times it would be useful to see how they are related. This is especially important when you have generations of the same name being used or when trying to figure out if a name is related, as in a child, niece, nephew, etc.
Yeah, there's no place to do that. I'll put it in my list. People have asked for this before.
This is 492. Line 492.
So I don't, it's unclear to me exactly how useful it is. This is the first time I've seen that it's might be useful for some particular reason as opposed to just curiosity. But okay.
Okay, this is question number 4. Are there plans to expand filtering options in the temple ordinances section? The sorting is nice, but being able to filter by sex and by ordinance would be really helpful when I only want to print female initiatory, for example.
You can already filter your reservation list by sex. What you do is you go to your reservation list, and each of them it's a reservation list have columns. Says name, sealing, ordinances, and date reserved. And there's a little triangle next to the name. If you click that, you can select sort by name, sort by first name, last name, birth, date, sex, or ID number. If you click sex, it'll sort female before male. And if you want to do it again, just click the word sex again. And now it's male, then female.
But your arrow didn't change.
It did.
No, it didn't.
It went up and down.
There. Sorry. Oops.
Yeah. So that's how you can do that already today. So there you go.
But what about
Each of the columns you can do some, not all the columns, but couple or three of the columns you can sort.
So can you do that on the ordinances?
This is the ordinances.
Yeah, but
Over here, I can come over here and say, okay, I want to see confirmations. So you'll see everybody. Who
So
needs
if you
confirmation.
filtered first by the sex, then you went over and did the other one,
Yeah, you can have 2 columns. Some say you can do 3, but I think you can only do 2.
Oh.
So if you set one column and then go set a second, it'll
keep it. It won't
keep that first.
There you go, Jennifer. We learned something new. And here's her last question. Can you pass along a request to the indexing team? I do a bunch of reviewing, especially in the table mode. It would be really beneficial to have the columns be resizable.
Oh, yeah. Tell me that number.
493.
I'll pass that on.
Oh, no, sorry. 494. Pardon me.
2 records.
Mm-hmm.
Indexing. Yeah, she wants to adjust the column.
Yeah, that is a nice feature. It would be good.
Okay. So Robert had a thing about trying to fix 2 ladies named Mary Burt have been mixed up. One never married and lived in Massachusetts. The other one was born in England and lived and died in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is presently in the MA family.
Yes.
I know how to swap them out and move sources. Question, is the life sketch box a good place to explain what I'm doing and why there is a conflict? I would put this message on both records. One record has multiple people watching, and I expect some people will be upset, but I have sources to support this change. That's fine. I mean, that wasn't the original intent of Life Sketch, but since it always shows the first few lines, plenty of people have been using the first few lines of the Life Sketch to sort of put out a warning or whatever. I think that's perfectly reasonable. I would also make sure that between the two, whenever you split it, that you mark the 2 of them as not a match. That way you will prevent the system from presenting it as a possible duplicate to that other person.
You may have already done that.
Make sure you do that. I'm sure you're aware of it, Robert. You've been doing this for a while. So
yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm sorry about the sound.
Oh, thank you for the nice Christmas wish, June. That's nice. We'll have our grandkids and everything are coming in again. And like we told you before, on Christmas here in the Tanner household, it's Mexican food.
Yeah,
So
that's what we eat for Christmas.
we're having enchiladas, and I learned how to do green chili pork. Pretty good recipe. And chicken enchiladas. And Ron will do a homemade pico. And then for dessert, we'll have, I was going to say empanadas, but it's not empanadas.
Sopapillas.
Sopapillas.
Homemade sopapillas.
So.
All right. I love the new unattached people tag, sources, and the new dismiss button too. Yes, so people understand you go and look at sources, it'll tell you all the people, it'll tell you sources that have people in them that aren't attached to anybody. You can now dismiss those so that an individual source notification, or you can turn them off, of course. So that works out fairly well.
This one's from Mary. It appears that there have been some changes to the process of reserving names that need permission.
Yeah.
After clicking on I have permission, it's a bit different than before. Could you just review that, please?
Yeah. So we did enhance the 110-year process when you want to request somebody for 110 years. And what we're trying to do is help reduce some of the load that the support people are having. Every 110-year request is being, oh, hush. So it's a little notification on my thing that people are sending me emails.
And to her, it's
someone's at the front door.
We're in,
Go on.
DEFCON 1.
Yeah.
There's somebody going to be attacking us.
So we made some changes that try to speed up things, help the volunteers, the missionaries that are reviewing it, be able to go through it better and quicker and more information. And so we made some changes. We did. So hopefully, in most cases, it works better. I know that a few have mentioned that they aren't able to request if they're not shown as related, but that was an oversight, I believe, and so they're looking at how they're going to express that in a future revision of that. Is that everything on our list?
Well, I just did something and it went berserk. This, I don't know where it came from.
I think you can do undo up there with that left arrow.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't let me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was the last on my list.
Oh, okay.
But he'll have to help me with this because it's just.
Go down. You're way at the top now.
Mm.
Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, here's one from Kathy that just came in.
Okay.
Are there any plans to index records that don't follow a particular format, such as English tithe books? And if we prepare an index for our own use, is there any place to share it?
Yeah,
Or can we check to see if somebody else is working on one?
Yeah, I need you to send an email to me. Oh, I'll take the number. What's the number?
496.
Because I don't know. There was a point we were having people give us indexes and records and stuff, but I don't know if that avenue is open at the moment. But yeah, our intent is to take any records that we have the rights to show or to index and index them all, even if they're less formatted like a census. They look a little differently. So we're working on updating our software to be able to look at different kinds of records and getting them indexed and reviewed and stuff so that they're available. That's what we collected it, so we certainly want to show that to you. Okay, let's see. I think that's it for questions. See if I have anything in there. Will we see Never Married as an option for a couple relationship? That's actually shipped. So we did that late last week.
Oh, I didn't know.
There should be 2 sets of things you should see. I forgot about announcing this one. I should have told you this one. So on the person page, there is an other information entry now, I believe. I ought to go look because I haven't actually looked. They told me it was there, but I didn't go try it. When they told me they had delivered it, I didn't go look. So if I go to other information, I say add information. I think there is there's two new facts on the other information. One is called no couple relationships, which means they never got married, and no children. So that way you could make a couple relationship if you wanted and say there's no children. And if the no couple relationship is set, I know I'm playing.
Oh,
If the no couple relationships is set and somebody adds a relationship, we'll give them a data problem that says, hey, the person page says there was no couple relationships. Same thing with if you try to add a child to this person and you have it marked as no children, then it'll also complain and tell you that there's no children. Now, also those same other information is also in the relationship object. So if you in the relationship, so let's say you go to a relationship now, and you can see the husband and the wife, and you can go down and say add a fact. And when you go add fact, there's a no children fact. You can put there's little reason notes that you can put in about how you're justifying why they had no children. And you could there's also a event. Let me see. There's a lived together now. That's a new event in the spouse relationship, couple relationships, called live together. And you're to use that when somebody never got married, but they lived together. They could have had kids. This is not to be used for one-night stands, in a hotel room or something, and they happen to have a
how
kid.
does it differ? I mean, common law that live together, is that?
Live together is just common law definition is have to live for so many years together,
Oh,
and it's also based on where.
where?
Some states recognize it, some don't, things like that. But there's a live together in the relationship events, and there's also a relationship facts now, and the fact is no children. So you can have a couple that never had any kids, and now you can mark them there as married or whatever, and you can go down and say had no children, and give a reason why how you proved that they had no children. Like uploading a source of some journal where they're lamenting or they're talking about we never could have kids or whatever, or their will, had no children, so they donated everything. Things like that are good evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's thank you for asking. Did that come here? So there you go, Sherry. It's there. It's on the person page, and it's also in the relationship, the couple relationship.
This was.
Oh yeah, it sorts it, Jennifer. It doesn't filter. We don't do filtering. It just sorts it. It arranges it at the top or the bottom, so it's easier for you to find. We'll probably look into filtering for the future, but not currently. Okay. Lee, Ron, for reference, the sound issue sounds like a cross signal entering into your audio stream, like you hear on your mobile phone at times. Let me go see if the microphone's turned on. No, I want the microphone turned on. That's how I'm talking to you. So I don't know what to do. We haven't had this. I used this last time.
Says, do we have a ham operator
in
the neighborhood?
We may. Not that I know.
Maybe up on the bench above us, but.
I saw your request for more than 50 folders. I put that in my list to go talk about and see if that's something we want to do. Is it okay to tag living people in memories? Yes, absolutely. Go into memories. You can tag a person, put in their name. You link it to their living version of that person. And what will happen is when you link it to a person in a tree that's living, you're the only one that will see that tag. So others that look at that picture, there won't be a tag on that person. But when you look at it, there will be a tag on that person. So we did that so that we could still share the picture, but we're not exposing the names of living people. So feel free to go ahead and mark living.
She doesn't understand.
Where do you indicate there are no children? There's two places you can say no children. You can go on a person page and go to the other information under facts, and there's a no children option. Or If they were married, a good place to do it would be if they were married, two people were married, go to the couple relationship, and there's a new facts area, and in that fact there's a never married or no children, and then you can put it there. Okay, so that's either in the other information of a person or the facts information area in a relationship. You go to the relationship by clicking the little box with the pencil in it next to the couple. That's how you go there.
Question there from Lisa.
All right, Lisa. I went to the National Archives today and used my photo to copy the documents. Should I add the photos as a memory or add a source with a photo? What's the difference in these options for adding document photos? Well, if you just add it as a memory, then nobody sees it unless they happen to search for something and the title matches something they searched. But if you have to add it to memories anyway to make a memory source, a source from a memory. So if you got that and it's part of your stuff, I would upload it to memories and I go create a source on that person. You can click memory source and then you can pick the memory out of your gallery, and it'll create a source just like a regular source. You can put in your reasons and you can put in some data about the source and give it a title, attach it to the person. That's the thing I do. That way people see it in the source section. You can refer to it in your reason statements, see the source title, blah, 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 blah. And then they can go look at the image too.
You got a couple more questions.
Okay. In the case of illegitimate child parents did not marry, we will have that option so the parents are not sealed. We don't have that option right now. And they don't have to necessarily get married in order to be sealed. They have to have lived together. So if the people, so this is the rule for ordinances when it comes to children and sealing the parents. If the child, if the parents of the children live together for a period of time, then they don't have any specific designation, and we're not talking, but that's why I said not one night stands. It's not they live together for a day and a half or something, or 2 days. That's not acceptable. But they lived together for several years, had a child or a couple of children, but never married, then that's where you go in and put live together inside of the relationship, and then seal, and then the child can be sealed to those parents, even though it was quote illegitimate because they were not married. They were not married. They had child out of wedlock. And that's the intent of the live together. If this was a one night stand, then you can, you'll have to put notes in there. And then when you seal, the suggestion is you seal that child to grandparents, or you seal them to, usually grandparents, some set of grandparents. How does living together affect the ordinances when family is trying to seal a child to parents if the parents never got married? Because the policy says that they have to have lived together. That you don't seal a child who was conceived with a one-night stand in a hotel room after drinking or something. That's not an appropriate relationship in order to seal that child to those parents. That's a policy thing. Never live together option. Yeah, we talked about that. We never like to have a conclusion that's a negative. There's always issues when you have a negative conclusion, because people will see the relationship and say, oh, obviously I can seal them because they're a couple and they're parents of this child. But if you put in there never married, never lived together, then what you've done is you created a parent-child relationship, but they have to drill into it to figure out that, well, it wasn't really legit. So that's the problem with negative facts. So we'll have to keep noodling on how to describe that. Are we getting close to adding video to memories? Well, we're researching it. We're working with we're checking out some outside vendors that can maybe help us with this, but we're still investigating. I mean, we do investigate it all the time for videos because I know that's nice to have and people really want it really bad. Now people can't understand what I'm saying. We've got some kind of crosstalk in this thing.
Crosstalk? Like a ham operator.
Like a ham operator cutting into my signal. that's infusing sound or garbled, like police scanners or something like that. You didn't bring the cops with you or anything, did you? No. Okay. All right. Well, I will go investigate that crosstalk. I'll go out to the internet and look around, see if anybody else experiences Facebook crosstalk. I mean, it's the first time we've anybody said anything to us about it.
Yeah.
So I'll go investigate it, but sorry that we had those moments. I'll hear it when I download this video to go put it on the YouTube channel. I'll listen to it and see what you were hearing. They probably won't record it in the video. Maybe it may be crisp, but that's what you're hearing. But okay, thanks for all you do. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you.
We'll see you in January.
Well, next Facebook Live will be in January.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm taking the rest of the month off starting Monday. Maybe.
Lucky man.
Maybe.
Lucky man.
All right. Take care. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.